Hey, this is Stephen Amell, and you are listening to Tomorrow's Legends, the podcast. Don't fail your city.
Humans have reached a point of stagnation, and the next step in evolution is upon us. Telepathy, telekinesis, teleportation. These are the powers of the Tomorrow people, and they are about to break out. Join Flash, Harley, and X-Force 11 as they jump to a new story of heroes to follow their fight against a corrupt government who wants to hunt them down. This is the Tomorrow People, as brought to you by Tomorrow's Legends.
Yes, hello, Breakouts. Just like Legends was supposed to be, we are in a revolving door of hosts once again, as it's just old Flash and the Blue Lantern tonight. And we're here to cover the Tomorrow People episode 16 called Superhero. And suddenly, with how much keeps happening on the show, it's going by way too fast, X-Force, and we're getting near the end. I'm feeling the heat from this one, the Flash.
And I'm off to fight crime with Talia. I'm X-Force 11.
Oh, yeah. Got a little thing for Talia, do you? Yeah, man, we're like, 5 episodes left after this one, I think. 4 or 5. It's coming to an end quick.
22 episodes. So, yeah.
Dang it. Lots of stuff is happening, and it's just racing to an end. My God. Gideon, are you there?
Hello, Legends.
There she is. All right. We are part of the Cybercast Network, where you're listening to Tomorrow's Legends that covered Legends of Tomorrow. We may revisit a rewatch of Season 4. That would be next on the rewatch order. We also did Stargirl, Superman, and Lois, which is coming back this fall. X-Men 97 is new on the docket, and currently Tomorrow People. You also got Dive into DC with Silver Vox and Green Butterfly, and they are currently covering My Adventures with Superman Season 2, and they also dive into everything else DC related, so check them out. Also, the Joker 2 and the new Penguin series is coming for them, so they'll be diving into that stuff pretty hardcore. And then the Mandalore with all the Star Wars and Disney Plus, and we're eagerly awaiting the Skeleton Crew now, which is next on our list. So, yeah, lots going on the network.
Definitely.
Let's dive into some news. You always got some news, and you're gonna make up for how me and Harley messed it up last week, I'm sure.
We interrupt this podcast for a special report.
So what did we screw up last week?
Well, I had the notes, but not clear enough. So in Superman and Lois, we knew that there was going to be a season 4. We knew he was going to be in season 4, but it looks like Tom Cavanaugh is not going to be the Reverse Flash or a Wells that we have or a Wells that we have seen before. Okay. So they basically said he's not somebody that we have seen before. So the quote is, "It's someone you've never seen him play, and it's the most Tom Cavanaugh character ever, and it's a lot of fun." And that's from Brent Fletcher, one of the showrunners. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what we get from Tom, because he's such a wild character, and he's got such a big range. It's going to be interesting to see who he plays.
Well, when they say it's the most Tom Cavanaugh character ever, I mean, that could mean anything.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, it could be comedy. It could be, who knows?
It could be. But the fact that he's not playing Reverse Flash, I guess it'll be cool to see what he is, but could you imagine bringing Reverse Flash in to go against Superman? That would be a pretty epic matchup, I would say.
Yeah.
Oh, well. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see what he does.
Yeah. And the next little bit of Superman and Lois is there is a free digital comic out there. It's a one-shot online comic, and it's called Superman and Lois VaxCon Special Adventure. And I put a link to that in our Facebook group just now, and it's got some cool artwork. It was done by a fan, but it was it was approved of by DC. So it's one of those things where they did it and then got permission for DC, but you can read it all online. So it's got some pretty cool artwork. I haven't sat down and read it yet, but just saw about it this week, so that looks fun.
Cool. I'll have to check that out. That's a weird title. FaxCon Special Adventure. Like, that's just sounds weird.
Yeah, it was for a convention, and so they did this kind of promo comic for it. So
yeah, interesting. Yep. Okay, cool. Always worth checking out new stuff like that.
Yep.
We might have to look for that once this show ends. That might be all we have is comic book continuations, maybe.
Who knows? Who knows?
Let's get into our ratings for this 16th episode.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
And kind of crossing universes, I gave this one 8 Red Avengers Assemble. We didn't see 8 of them, but we saw 2 of them. But or if you count Russell, I guess 3.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
But we are on this podcast because we love a good superhero story, and I love the idea of the Red Avengers working all over the world to do good.
Yeah.
And it provides a different life for breakouts than the one we have seen. But I honestly would have liked to see Russell gone with Talia to be the hero and not just be this kind of third, fourth wheel. So I would kind of like to seen him go and then like maybe come back to help.
Right.
But, to give him a fuller storyline. But that's, maybe they would have done that in season 2, but who knows. But I did really enjoy the fight sequences in this episode. But I took it down a little bit because I thought so much was packed into this one episode. I feel like the whole Morgan, Jed, Stephen, Hillary stories may have been better suited as their own episode rather than kind of trying to stuff everything in. But overall, it was a fun episode and fun to see breakouts using their powers to do some good and take us kind of back to the hero side of our podcasting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. They really did inject some actual superhero elements, and we'll talk about that as the show goes on. But it was pretty cool. Well, I'm giving this one a 9, as Batman once put it, wham, pow, slam. Man, this show is good. It just keeps moving the needle along the story progression in ways and advancements that all other CW shows should have taken note of. I actually felt this one flowed great. I agree with you. They packed a lot in, but I felt it kept going pretty decently. It didn't feel convoluted to me, but there was a lot going on with everything that was happening. There's just so much punch that they're giving, and to me, it's landing hit after hit after hit. Every story twist they try to throw in, wham, it hits. You're like, wow, that was a twist I didn't see coming. Every dramatic answer or question revealed. It just, the writing in the show is just so top notch. It really was way better than the acts it so didn't deserve. And even now, 10 years later, it's still better writing than most of what we have now on the CW and all the superhero shows. This one is really, really competing for the top spot of best written superhero show. But I really don't remember a single moment of how this one wrapped up. These last 5-6 episodes and going into the next 5, I'm completely drawing a blank of everything. So all the didn't see this coming moments are fun, shocking moments for me. Like Steven finding his dad already with still 6 more episodes to go. We'll talk about that. Or Hillary out of nowhere falling for him and smacking a good old kiss on him. Like, wow, there's so much fun in this series, and I just love it. I'm really enjoying it this time around.
Yeah, me too. I don't remember anything so far that going forward, and it's one of those things where maybe when I see it I'll remember it, but a lot of this episode I had just totally forgotten. So yeah. It's fun.
It is fun. Well, let's dive into our notes for tonight.
Gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the universe.
Where are you starting us off?
So it was really cool. We see this hooded figure following this guy, and then she gets in the house. She's using her TK pushes and teleporting all around him and taking him down, and she's wearing a mask, and like she sees this guy, she sees this woman tied up in the walk-in, and so she's just full on, being the hero here, and I thought it was really cool.
Totally, because it was like perfectly paying homage to Arrow. Like the nostalgia there was so full on, and it was fun. I mean, you got a dark hooded figure helping people out. Now, just imagine if Oliver had powers like that.
Yeah.
My God, but it just felt good. It just felt familiar, and I was like, this is territory I know, and it was fun.
Yeah, I appreciated it. And then we get into a very steamy scene of John and Cara really back together and enjoying their fancy hotel room. And afterwards, she's got reservations of how to make the romance and work mix. And, John says, listen, I respect you inside and outside the bedroom, so...
Talk about steam. Holy steam, Batman. That was a hot scene. It's getting warm in here. They definitely got rid of a lot of tension in those scenes. Holy cow. That seemed like they needed that. But yeah, so she I don't know if it was the words that he said that triggered her, but she was a little bit concerned. Like, man, we sure got back into this awfully fast. But he's like, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. I got you. Yeah. I respect you. It's all right.
Yeah. Well, when they get back to the lair, much to the fun lines that Russell pokes at him there about Arizona's jaunting match, they find out that Russell and Steven and Tim have analyzed the device that we talked about at the end of last episode, and it seems like it's a key bound to Roger. And it's basically looking for him, so that lets him know, his body's still out there. So it's beyond just reacting to Steven, which it probably is, but it's trying to home in on Roger.
Yeah, it's like a almost like a tracking beacon of some kind, or like a what were those things in the Mandalorian, the little key fobs that would track all of his
the pucks or whatever they called them.
Yeah. Kind of similar to that. So yeah, it's like a biological device that only their DNA triggers, which is very cool. And it made me wonder, and we can maybe come back around to this later, but did Roger have that made once he knew the plan was to kill him and hide his body? Like, that's the mystery that's still lingering here. Was this all a setup? Was Roger part of this, making himself disappear, fake his death, put his body in ice, and in that instance did he okay, I better have a backup plan just in case something goes wrong. I'm going to create this device that can locate my body in case it goes missing, and because I don't even know if he meant for Steven to have it. It was just in a crate full of junk, but here it is, right? So I'm just wondering if he timed that, if he made it, because I can't imagine Jed building something like that, but you never know.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So because of this, they kind of need to get into Jed's mind to find the location. But Cara says basically, hey, you're on your own. And so Russell's like, hey, man, I know a way to get your mind off of it. Let's go hit the bars and find some women.
Oh, man. Well, your first point, Cara just is giving no leeway in anything right now. All she wants to do is stay hidden, protect the people we're looking after. That's it. Nothing. We're not risking anything. So she's very adamant and steadfast about that. But
yeah,
come on, Russell, man. Like, you've got no game, especially when he's drunk confidence, or he's drunk confident and he just has no willpower about anything. He's got no game with girls. Like, nothing seems to work. You're more goofy than you are attractive to women when you're acting the way you do. So I just shaking my head. Oh, Russell.
Yeah, I think we get into that, his character in this episode a whole lot, and I think so much of that is just how he covers for himself and how he basically maybe puts himself down, or just he doesn't see the good in himself, and so he's just trying to play this role, and it just backfires when he's trying to have game.
Exactly.
So in the middle of this, Steven gets a message from Hillary about the new breakout.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, she's saving humans and leaving a rose, and you can see it. Russell knows her.
As soon as that was dropped, she leaves a rose. You could see him go, huh? I know that call sign.
Right.
Yep, I know that symbol. So, and this is what we talked about a while back. When you develop powers, why wouldn't you want to become a hero? Especially for those of us that love this type of stuff. Like, we read comic books, we watch the cartoons, watch the movies, and we all dream and fantasize about the what ifs. I got superpowers one day. What would I do about it? Because for me, like, I for sure would make a costume and bring superheroes to life. Like, what a fantasy that would be. Like, Marvel and DC lives. I would totally emulate whatever, I guess, depending on the power that I got, but I would emulate the heroes that I like that have the similar powers. I mean, why wouldn't you? It's I'm surprised it's taking this long for this to really come into play on the show.
Yeah, especially that generation of people. Like, why wouldn't you have done that? And so we don't know what. Well, we know that DC is a thing in this universe because we've seen Flash comics. So why wouldn't you? Like, I agree. Why wouldn't you become superheroes? I mean, yeah. So,
I mean, unless you're criminally intent. Mine is, but you go the other way, but definitely one or the other. Yeah. I think it would be fun to be kind of like how we saw on Jupiter's Legacy when they got their powers. You just surprise the world. Like, what, superheroes actually exist? Like, that's a real thing. You would get to be that person that brought that to life. I mean, it's a dream fantasy for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So we get a flashback to 4 years ago in Vegas, and Russell is using his powers to win big. But it seems like he meets his match when it comes to Talia. But she actually saves him from getting taken by the casino goons, and like, she gives him the rose, like, and that's that tie back. And so it's interesting because it makes it seem like she's doing the same things, but she's a little more savvy than he is.
Yeah, because we see him, he's drinking and partying with the girls and just living the life. And of course, when you overindulge like that, you catch the eyes of the casino security and the ones that check to see if you're counting cards, all that kind of, like, every casino in Vegas is highly secure. They know if you're counting cards, they figure it out, and they escort you. They don't take your money from you, but as soon as they realize that that's what you're doing, you're kicked out. So Russell was just going way overboard here, and they caught their attention. So it was pretty cool that she came in and saved him from getting pounded by those guys. But here's the thing, like, when we just finished talking about being superheroes and using our powers for good, in this instance, I honestly, if I could do that, I can't say that I wouldn't cheat on some gambling either, because I mean, I would think I'd be smarter about it than Russell, kind of how she was showing it, and only take some here, some there, spread it around so you're not so suspicious, like go from casino to casino and not be crazy like he is. But like, seriously, because today's finances with the cost of living and everything being almost unbearable, like, I think I might be doing the same. I can't lie. I mean, don't judge me for that, but I feel like I would. I mean, the casinos make so much money anyway. So what if you skim off the top a little bit just to help yourself out and not, get yourself out of debt, whatever. Like, I can't say I wouldn't do it.
Well, and if you don't have the finances of Batman, how are you going to support your secret identity? Who knows?
Exactly, right? Like, come on. Like, I wouldn't rob a bank or anything, but a casino, why not? They make millions every night. So, if you just trick the games to fall in your favor a few times and you go home with a few thousand each night, whatever. You're not going to miss it. But I do have to say, in these flashback scenes, oh boy, Russell is another victim of the CW wig curse. It didn't look as bad as some of the ones Oliver wore, but man, yep, that's some hair.
Yeah, definitely. So I wanted to look up Talia, and so here's a Legends tie. She is played by Melissa Roxburgh, and she was in Legends Season 1, Night of the Hawk, and she was also in 2 episodes of Arrow and 13 episodes of Valor, and basically the entire run of Manifest. So
yes, Melissa Roxburgh. I'm a big fan of her because of Manifest. I watched that entire show. Manifest is a great successor to Lost. If you're a Lost fan, it plays on all the same ideas. And she was the main star and really, really good on it. She played a police detective. And anyway, the show's about a plane disappearing during its flight and coming back 5 years later. It just vanished and then came back 5 years later. The people on the plane stayed the same age, but everybody else in the world had grown up 5 years, and now it's about these people trying to figure it out. And they start getting flashes of people in trouble, and they run around and they're able to save people, like kidnapped girls and wives being beat up by their husbands or whatever. They get these images that, oh my God, someone's in trouble, and they're able to track them down and help them. So it's a really neat show. Like I said, if you like Lost, you'll like it. She was really, really good. I definitely crushed on her during its run because she has matured really. She's a beautiful, beautiful actress. But I don't remember her on Arrow or Legends. I'm going to have to check those out. I do not remember seeing her on those shows.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were pretty small roles because Arrow was before and Legends was after this. And like I said, it was just, small roles,
right.
Not much more than this. So
okay, cool. No, she's great. It was good to see. I recognized her right away, so it was good to see her.
So at Ultra, this is a subject of the times too. At Ultra, Hillary's got a blogger called Avery Fletcher who's been tracking this superhero for years, and we find out she's called the Red Avenger, and he's got all these this notebook full of all kinds of stuff about her. But in there, Steven sees a photo of Russell and the Red Avenger from Vegas 4 years ago, and he's like, oh, okay.
The Red Avenger, you know what? It actually works. I mean, we're in the DC. Well, I guess we're not in any world. Like, this is a wide open world. They're not connected to DC or anything here. So, but the Red Avenger, it works. I found it interesting, though, that she's been uncatchable all this time. Because how many years has Ultra been around? How many years have any of these groups been around? But she's been uncatchable for this long, so she's really good.
Yeah. So I found this interesting. We get this scene between John and Morgan, and and they're in the lair, and John tells Morgan that he was gone for a couple weeks, and I just find that interesting. Like it does not, from our point of view, seem like a couple weeks that he's been gone, like he's been crashing at Stevens or whatever.
Yeah.
So like it just doesn't seem that long, but evidently it's been a couple weeks since he's been out of the lair. So
yeah,
I just thought that was interesting.
It may not have seemed like that based on episode to episode, but when you think about it, like him gaining Steven's mom's trust and cooking and all that kind of stuff, like and helping Astrid out, like it does actually track that it's been more than just a couple of days. I maybe didn't think a couple of weeks. I maybe thought a week or two at most. But
I was thinking maybe a week, but still.
But that also builds up the time for him and Cara to want to get back together too.
Yeah,
I missed you. Come here, quick. Yeah.
So Morgan offers to get in Jed's head if John can cover for her, because Cara's not going to allow it, basically.
Exactly. So, because she says something along, and she goes, Cara will never see eye to eye with me, so maybe you can help me out if you just cover for me. So it was good to see Morgan back, because we haven't seen her in like 4 or 5 episodes, so it's good to see her back and that she's still there. She's just not a main character, but that's a risky plan, because we know Jed has protections in place. So for you, I mean, maybe you could work your feminine wiles on him, knowing that he's in love with you and he wouldn't notice, but we get to that scene eventually. And
Yeah.
I just right off the bat, I was like, that's risky.
Yeah. We find out why she was risking it later, too. So, yeah. So, Steven confronts Russell about the Red Avenger, and we find out that they became partners and they were cheating casinos worldwide, just running the scams more smartly. And Tim's been searching for her with no luck. So she's really good at covering her tracks, which is kind of explain why Ultra hadn't gotten to her.
Yeah.
But the rose is a red 16, which is her favorite roulette play. And that leads Tim to find, those roses in the Bronx. So at Rockefeller Rose Garden.
Yep. So partners, lovers, I mean, what a life they had back then. I mean, exciting. You're a 20-something-year-old and you're running around the world with this girl who's got the same powers as you and you're just living the life. I mean, awesome stuff for Russell there.
Yeah, and the high roller suite and everything. So.
Yeah. Like he had a good time back then. So
yeah,
I do like Tim had some funny lines in this episode too. He was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's like, well, if you don't need me, I'll just go to sleep then.
Yeah.
Snarky. He's kind of sounding like our Gideon a little bit.
Yeah. So here in this flashback, we see Russell and Talia in that, like the high roller suite, like I talked about. And we see the change here because she wants to give back and she wants to fight the bad guys. And we kind of see him toying with that, but not really seriously about it.
And what was interesting, what I liked about Talia and the way her story, her legend develops in this episode is you see that right from the beginning. She was a pure hero right from the start. She wants to use her powers for good. It's noble. It's respectful. It's just at that time, Russell was a little too young. He's still stuck in, like I said, that 20-something, I don't really care about the world type of perspective. He just wants to party, have fun. But she had already grown beyond that, and she realized, I can use these powers to do some good. And she was hoping Russell was going to take on that, that mission with her, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But he wasn't ready yet. But it's just cool. No. You see that she was ready for that right from the start.
Right. And so Tim catches her on camera and they're off to Little Saigon and the bar that she's there at. And basically she's, downstairs taking care of these gang guys. And Steven and Russell come in and, they're trying to talk with her. But they find out it's not Talia. It's Mallory.
It's Mallory, yeah. So first off, I laughed at this scene because Russell and Steven passed out on the couch together. They're on the same couch and they're almost kind of, snuggling a little bit there. I just thought that was funny that Tim wakes them up and they're both passed out. That's pretty funny.
I'm not an alarm clock.
Yeah, I'm not an alarm clock. Hello. But yeah, I mean, that was a surprise. I initially thought, why couldn't they use the same actress for the same character in the future? And because I wasn't cluing in at all that she's developed this.
Me neither.
This story, but man, like she didn't look the same at all, and it was pretty cool. That was just my initial thought, but it's somebody else, and then as we go along, we find out the story involved, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the Dread Pirate Roberts. But the Red Avenger is a title passed along to breakouts in different cities and then passed along to somebody else. And the interesting thing is Russell is part of the lore, but of inspiring Talia. And so even though it's not Talia, they know all about Russell. And so, here it is, we're used to the Tomorrow people offering people to join them, but she doesn't want to do that. She's not one to play it safe. And so this is kind of an interesting perspective of somebody who is kind of like-minded but not wanting to join them because they're doing their own thing.
Yeah, now this passing on the mantle thing, I was trying to think, where have we heard that before? Was it Jupiter's Legacy? It was all about the father passing on the mantle to the son and carrying on the name. Like, that's where it seems most recently familiar. But definitely. I love the idea, an entire legion of heroes all following the same creed. It's a cool idea. It's a good way to spread it around the world because you all have the same power, so it's very easy to disguise yourself as the same person.
Right.
And do it. So it's pretty cool. I find it funny that Talia uses Russell as her quote-unquote hero inspiration, because that's not by truth, but rather it's a story that she uses to inspire everybody else, and it works. We've seen this employed in other superhero stories where you know, someone is inspired by a certain person. That person says, well, I learned this from my mentor, and my mentor taught me this and this and this, and that person's just like, oh, wow, okay, well, I'm going to follow that too. And you just pass that story on, and nobody has to know the actual truth. So it's a great tactic to get people to follow, not you, but follow the story, follow the legend that you created. It works. But imagine though, that, like, looking at Mallory, she got herself in a couple of crazy fights there where it was 1 against 3. So you have to train yourself pretty well in hand-to-hand combat to be able to defend yourself, because sure, you have powers, but we've seen that if you end up facing someone more skilled than you, like say in martial arts or say has a knife or whatever, and they get in close to you and they can take you down, your powers might not be enough if you get caught off guard. You're not invincible with the 3 Ts. You can get hit, you can get zapped, you can get electrocuted, whatever. Things can happen to you, so you've got to train yourself pretty well, especially if you're jumping in a room where you're outnumbered and you're fighting them hand to hand. You're not Superman, you're not the Flash, you're just a regular person throwing punches and kicks like you and me could. You better be trained.
Yeah. And I like this idea of, like, you find somebody, you sit down, you train them, you get them going, and then kind of send them on their way and then move on to the next one, so that you're passing that along. And they each have different missions, and they can be here, there, and everywhere, and so that makes it harder to find. But again, you know, some of that's going to be training with your mentor, and some of it's just going to be on the job, learning as you go.
On the fly, yeah. And you know what it reminds me of? I mean, we've seen Batman kind of do it with training all the different Robins, and they've all moved on to become Nightwing and whoever else. But even in Arrow did it when Oliver took on what's his name? The Red Arrow. Did his name just blank on me?
Oh,
he was my favorite character, my favorite supporting character, I should say. Why did his name just blank on me?
Yeah, and I'm wanting to say Connor Hawke, but that's not.
No,
that's not. That's comic one of his, you know. But
yeah. But he saw what Oliver was doing, and he decided he wanted to do exactly the same because he was inspired. So he turned himself into the Red Archer and was doing the exact same thing until Oliver finally came looking for him, and then they teamed up, and he became Oliver's sidekick.
Yeah.
It was awesome. That's exactly what this is. It's the same type of story idea.
Yeah.
Dang it, he's what?
Arsenal. Roy Harper.
Roy Harper, thank you.
I was like jumping like a word association. It's like I got to Arsenal, and then I said, okay, man. Roy.
Roy. I loved Roy so much.
Yeah.
So
Mallory takes the guys to her place, where she kind of explains her mission, you know, as the Red Avenger, and she's trying to take out this gang, and they're into all the bad stuff, and they're trying to, you know, this gang is trying to get, you know, the head of the gang out by getting to this judge's family. And so the 3 of them basically have to go in and save the judge and his family. And this was a fun fight sequence and they have a lot of fun until they come in, John and Cara come in and scold them.
This whole scene was fun. Like, this show is really good with their choreography. This was a great fight. They're hopping over back and forth over the countertops, and they're doing all kinds of stuff. Like, it was just really fun. Really good fight sequences here. But this is exactly what I was talking about. You see how well this works. You act as heroes, and look how thankful and grateful the judge was. Like, he's blindfolded, but he was just like, oh my God, thank you so much. You saved my family. What can I do for you? Like, this is why being a superhero can work. You save people that are in dire straits or lives are on the line, and this is what the reaction you're going to get. And being a main judge, he probably would have put something out there to the police force or to whatever, just saying, hey, let these guys do their thing because they're helping. You don't have to chase them down, kind of like how the police were after Arrow all that time. So
yeah,
I just think it works. It's really great. And then I also laughed. I thought it was funny that Steven and Russell went in without masks. It was a lucky thing that everybody was blindfolded because they didn't see who they were.
Yeah.
But how would they know that they wouldn't have been seen?
Exactly. Oh,
Although the bad guys saw them.
yeah.
Yeah. But
So they make it out in time because Hillary and Ultra arrives, but she spots Steven's bar wristband.
how did he lose that? Did it just get ripped off in the fight or something?
I'm assuming because it's like, the plot device of she's got.
But I mean, immediately as soon as we saw her pick that up, and you saw the look on her face, she's really good at having, angry face. Like you're thinking, oh great, just what we need is for her to go after Steven now. She's been looking for a way to take him down, not expecting what was coming later.
Yeah, definitely. So, back at the lair, Russell is basically defending their actions to Cara and John.
They are, and I mean, even Mallory steps in and tries to butt her way in and explain herself, but they're like, "Excuse me, private conversation here." But what I did love is the shout out to Superman, to Spider-Man, and even Batman. Like, it's cool.
Yeah.
We got both the best of both worlds. It was really cool.
Yeah, exactly.
And that Spider-Man comic comes into play in a little bit. But honestly, I have to say I would be on her side at this point. Again, using your powers for good and helping people. They aren't wrong here at all. Cara, I think, is the one that's wrong. You just have to train in a different way. You have to know when you have to get out and not get overwhelmed. Like I said, being outnumbered. You just have to... There's a different type of training you got to add to your... Just to yourself. That, okay, I got to jump in, do what I need to do, and get out. Don't stick around. Don't do the stupid things like we've seen Russell do, where he stays too long and gets himself in trouble. So I have to say I agree with her at this moment, for sure.
Yeah. So after this, John tells Cara about Morgan. But we get the bombshell. Cara tells John that Morgan is pregnant with, basically, we know it's Jed's.
Yeah. First of all, whoops, John. Right after you tell Cara that you respect her authority, you step outside her orders and do something behind her back. Now you just lost her trust again. And then that pregnant bomb, like, wow, that complicates things. Big time.
Yeah. And we see why she was really anxious to be there and to talk with Jed. So
Yep, definitely.
So at Ultra, we get the confrontation between Hillary and Steven about being there. And just when you think it's about, she's about to tear him a new one about doing that, she supports the Red Avenger. And we get her backstory. Yep. So basically, 3 men broke into her house when she was 10. Brother called the cops. The men shot all of them.
Her whole family.
Right, exactly. And she was hiding, feeling powerless. And then when she broke out, she vowed to protect people. And that's why she's at Ultra. Yeah. Because, she had never heard of the Tomorrow people, of this group. She saw it as a way to go out there and defend things. And now she's seeing this Red Avenger, and she's seeing maybe there's a different way to look at things.
We're going to hear all of that because it actually is my favorite scene.
Nice.
I love this backstory, and I'll talk about it a little bit more later, but it really just changed my perspective on Hillary big time.
I like it, but I'm liking it with reservations. That
Yeah.
and the end scene, because
Yeah.
I'm still like, I've still got reservations, but I liked it a whole lot. I mean, I think that aspect of it is true, but I'm wondering if there's ulterior motives behind things. But anyway, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I'll dive more into how I felt about it after we hear it, for sure.
So Russell kind of fills Mallory in and about the whole Tomorrow People history, and they find out from Tim that the gang leader's trial has been moved up.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny when you listen. Russell is telling the story, and Mallory's like, so this and this and this, and she kind of reiterates what he says, and you're like, you know what, that does actually sound pretty outlandish. Pretty crazy, but unless you'd lived it, you wouldn't really know. So,
right.
I can imagine, because us as the viewers are like, why don't you just believe everything you're being told? But you got to put yourself in these people's shoes, and sometimes things sound a little bit too crazy. But then again, she is a person with power, so maybe you should be a little more open and listen.
So we get the next flashback, and Talia has left Russell and taken the winnings. And he turns her in. And, this is very interesting because, he is just hurt that she's left him. He could make more money. He knows that, but he's just so hurt that he's like, okay, I'm going to turn her in because I'm just so mad at her. And yeah.
Dude, I mean, he called the cops to say, or he called hotel security to say he was robbed, but do we know that she ever got caught? Because she could just teleport away if she knew they were coming. Like, I don't know if they verified that she was actually caught. Because she just says at the end of the episode, you're the one that called on me or something, doesn't she? Or did she say turn me in? I couldn't.
Well, he said he confesses to turning her in, and she basically acknowledges that she knew.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
okay.
I don't think she got caught, but she probably couldn't use that name or alias anywhere. So
right, or show up in a casino anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but what else would he think though at that point in the storyline? Because he got played, he got hit on, he got slept with just for the opportunity to get the money. This stuff happens in Vegas all the time. Like, you hear about these stories. There's some lonely guy down on his luck, wife divorced him or whatever, and he's in Vegas just spending money, makes a few big winnings, and some beautiful woman comes and hits on him. He doesn't even think about it, like, oh my God, like, this is my lucky night. I'm in Vegas. This stuff happens all the time. And so she, because, these people don't care. She sleeps with him, takes all his money. It happens. This is real stuff. So why would Russell ever think anything else?
Yeah, exactly. So we get the meetup between Jed and Morgan, and he's still playing it safe, but he misses her. And after they're done with the romance, out comes the pillow talk, and she talks about wanting to get away and having a normal life with him, and talks about having a child, and he's pushing back, is like, do we raise him as a human, as a paranormal? And we kind of see that disappointment, and he's falling asleep, and she tries to read him, but he knows something's happening. I mean, he knows how to guard himself. He's been around all these telepathic people. He knows something's happening, and you just see the rage happen here, and he is choking her out, basically going to kill her when John arrives, stops him, and spills the beans about the pregnancy. So this was, you know, yeah, we know that this wasn't going to go well.
This was a hard scene all around. I mean, she was hoping to confide in him and maybe pull him away from Ultra to raise their kid together. She's like, "That's right. Can't we just have a normal life?" And you know, she was fishing for his reactions about having a family, being a kid. But he's so against the idea of having a family and how wrong it is and how dangerous it is, and it's so upsetting to her. Like she's pissed off, she's let down, she's disappointed, and she rolls away from him. And you know, he's like, "Just go to sleep." So she decides at that moment, okay, well, now I know how you feel. I don't have a future with you. I'm going to help the breakouts instead. So that's when she rolls over and puts her hand on his head, and she's like, okay, whatever. And she starts snuggling him, and she starts reading him. But he immediately, like within a few moments, wakes up, and he's like, "What did you do? What are you trying to get at? What's going on?" And like, so I'm curious, how does he know that she's reading him? Is it just the experience being around breakouts all the time? Can he tell when his mind is being invaded, or does he have some type of implant or something that maybe puts a guard up against it and it sends a signal into him, like, oh my god, like a little zap or something? Like, I wonder how he actually knew, because we've seen them read other people and nobody has a clue.
Yeah, I think if you were in a environment like he is, he has had years of training of, like, say, okay, try to read me. I'm going to try to block you, because he could couch it and saying, okay, you've got to be able to read people and do whatever who are resisting. So try that on me. So like, he's probably had that. And then you've got to think he's got to keep his guard up, because the founder can read things. And, you know, I think it's not necessarily tech, but just like years of training, because like he didn't know specifically what was happening, but knew something wasn't right. And so like, I think it's one of those things where he's just had the mental practice, because he has to, is where he works. Like, you can't have D chips all the time. So you've got to just to learn how to guard yourself with it. So
I guess, but I think he must have also had practice burying his memories, because but maybe he's learned something with all his science experiments or something going on at Ultra. He's figured out a way to put up walls and barriers in his mind. Maybe Jack taught him a few things, or Roger maybe taught him a few things how to do that. I don't know, but that scene was intense. He's killing the woman he loves after he tells her having a kid is the worst thing that he can imagine, and now he's going to kill the woman that he loves. I can't even think of what she must be feeling in that moment, that the man I love, I'm about to have his baby, and he wants nothing to do with it, and now he's killing. I just can't imagine. That is some serious emotional trauma in that moment. And I also have to give Mark Pellegrino, like, his performance, wow. Another favorite scene. I'm throwing this in as a bonus scene because Harley's not here tonight. It was intense and brutal and scary. There was a lot of emotion of all kinds happening there, and my God, just it left you breathless, really.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well acted.
But like you said, it's a good thing John arrives, because I think Morgan was a goner there. He was going to kill her. She was almost gone. But I do wonder, though, when a breakout is being strangled or stabbed or shot multiple times or whatever, does that interfere with them being able to use their powers? When they are physically hurt or incapacitated in some way, does that stop them from using her powers? Because in the moment that she's being strangled, would she not just teleport out of there to save herself?
Or say, stop, you're going to kill me and your kid, like,
with her telepathy or something?
Yeah, you would think that she'd be able to do that. It would, like, the adrenaline rush would, like, cause your powers to be stronger, or what? I don't know, but maybe she's not getting enough oxygen.
That's what I wonder, because we saw when John got shot, he couldn't teleport away anymore.
Yeah,
So-
well, yeah, he couldn't do both of them, I don't think, but yeah.
Yeah. So I think being physically hurt hinders them a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but here's my couple of questions. What is Jed going to think now? Because he was just about to kill a woman he loves, and now he finds out that she's pregnant with his kid, and she teleports away from him. Where is his headspace at now? Because we didn't see him, deal with that in the rest of the episode after this moment. I'm just wondering where his head is at, finding this information out.
Yeah, I think it definitely made the scene at the end a little more powerful because he may not be dealing with it fully, but I think it played into the emotions and how he confronted Steven. So
Right.
I think he's going to look at things differently now that he has a legacy like his brother did.
Right.
And will it make him question what he's doing to the Tomorrow people, considering that there's a fairly good chance that his kid may have powers too? So yeah, it's going to be interesting to kind of see the fallout from this.
Yep. And then my other question is, do you think Morgan will ever trust him again? Is that the end of the two of them?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you would think no,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
I mean, because Harley's brought it up before, like, Jed went back to the crazy side here. Like that, like he freaked out and he got extremely angry. Angry enough that you're gonna kill the woman you love. He snapped. So just Jed, I just can't figure him out. There's something not right with this character. And we're not sure what it is yet.
Yeah, you're angry at your brother. You feel that loss. You're in a place where potentially everybody could read your thoughts. You're having to be protective of things. You've got to maintain power even in the midst of that. I mean, you're going to come to breaking points, and this definitely looks like one of them.
Yeah, I think so. We'll probably see the fallout of it next episode, I would imagine.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
So here we get a very fun sequence. We get this court sequence where we've gotten the gang somehow sneaking into the trial with Uzis, basically. And they come in and take control, and then we get Russell and Mallory heading in, and this was so fun.
That is my only nitpick on this episode, is how did they get machine guns into a courthouse? Because I'm pretty sure there's some pretty heavy security in courthouses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You would think, yeah, I mean, metal detectors and everything, this, that, and the other. So,
yeah, so that's my only nitpick. But I loved Russell in these sequences, the fight in the courtroom, because he was doing his best Spider-Man in these scenes. So call back to him being mentioned earlier. The way Russell jumped off the judge's desk was total Spider-Man. Like, he jumped up and lifted his knees up beside him and had his, I was expecting him to shoot out a web and swing across the room.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So Hillary is determined to take down the Red Avenger and Russell. And so Steven has to fill in the Tomorrow people so that they can come to the rescue.
With a quick telepathic call. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But here, for me, like Hillary, suddenly I find her a lot more understandable now, because Steven even asks her he asks her, what about what you said? And she says, in the future, but for now, I still take orders from Ultra. So her reveal really changed how I see her now, because we're going to hear it again in her favorite scene, but when she tells him her story and how she just wants to help people, it makes me understand her a little bit more now. And that's why Steven brings it up. He's like, why are we attacking? Like, what about what you just told me? We shouldn't be attacking Russell and Mallory. And she's like, well, that'll come later. I got to deal with this now. I'm in Ultra. I can't just drop that. So that it's kind of interesting how she suddenly got this massive story boost, and it makes me understand her a little bit better. So it was cool.
Yeah, and I think she's got to find some way. I think it's hard to understand because, like, she wants to do well. She sees this Ultra as a means to an end, and it tells you why she's so motivated. But then again, it's like a couple episodes ago, Jed basically says, if you don't do good, you're basically not going to have powers. How can she see a way around? How do you reconcile that? But maybe she just doesn't see a way out at this point. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we were talking about the fight scene. The Red Avengers here fight the gang thugs, and you were talking about the Spider-Man jump. I really liked Russell doing the cool handcuff toss to handcuff the boss to the radiator. That was such a fun little scene there. The spin and then the toss, and it was so fun.
The whole fight scene. This was again good choreography throughout. Great scene. It's giving Arrow a run for its money for best hand-to-hand fights. Like, seriously, they have choreographed this so well. But yes, that flinging the handcuff across the room and nailing the Hitman guy to the pipes with them, it was awesome. It's my favorite action moment we've seen in a while. I mean, it was Spider-Man again written all over it. He just used handcuffs instead of webbing. But it was very cool. It was all done in slow-mo, and this made Russell look cool. It was a neat move, for sure.
So John gets him out of the courtroom, and Cara in a mask distracts Ultra.
Which I didn't pick up on. Like, until she got to the roof, I didn't realize that was Cara. It looked like either Mallory or Natalia. I couldn't tell that it was her. But real smart play by her, and it shows. What I liked is it shows she was willing to step out of her hiding in the sewers and step in to help. So finally, some progress for her, because she is as beautiful as she is. I was honestly getting a little bit annoyed with her constantly going, no, let's just stay here, and never doing anything. So I'm glad she took a step forward here.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So at the end there, we get to see Mallory basically passing on the mantle, saying, you can be a Red Avenger as well to Russell.
Yeah. I'm with you. Because it kind of, I like you were saying in your opening monologue, I wish Russell had have gone on solo for a little bit here. Not disappear from the show, but I mean, he might not have been a main character for a couple episodes, but it would have been neat to see him go on his own and be an Avenger and be a hero and live that life for a little bit and then come back to the team. It would have been cool, but he doesn't take it.
Yeah. So we're getting into my favorite scene, but Talia appears on the rooftop, and she knows he turned her in, and she took the money and donated it to the Vegas Youth Center. And she basically tells him, listen, I told my disciples you were a hero because I hoped you would become one.
Again, she really shows the type of hero she is and can be a real inspiration for others. Cara should take some notes from this girl.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. So, back at the lair, Steven's just kind of ecstatic because of what all they've gone through. And then he finds out that Morgan didn't get the location. But she did see an image. She thinks it's a deli, and John said, no, it's a butcher shop. And basically he says it's an ultra front that he went to with Jed, but he was only 12.
Which, obviously, this closed down butcher shop, Jed and Roger bought, and have converted it into this secret lair or secret lab, whatever you want to call it. I mean, who would ever guess that that's there? It still looks like a butcher shop that's just been closed, out of business. No one's bought the building. It's just stayed there. So who would ever suspect anything is going on there? But obviously Jed and Roger did, and this is something they were hiding away from Ultra, which Jed is still using. I don't think Ultra knows about this thing.
I actually don't think it's a closed butcher shop. I mean, I think it's still in business. This is just underneath of it.
Oh, I thought I saw a sign on the window when Stephen walked up to it. I thought there was a sign, something about out of business or something like that.
I don't know. I may have missed that. But anyway. So
yeah, I'll have to look into that.
Yeah. So Cara sees John's past. And, we see a lot of the scenes that we have seen. And then she's able to go in and see the location of this butcher shop, corner Broadway and Bedford in Brooklyn. And Stephen immediately teleports out. He's like, I've got to go get the key. I've got to find this place.
Yeah, like it. He really opened up to her this time. No more secrets, as John says. And I think she's really starting to understand what he's gone through and why he does the things he does and why he hides things. Because he's truly, and I said this many, many episodes ago, he's been through more than anyone. And to turn out as a good guy the way he has is pretty amazing. He could easily have become a psycho out for revenge, but he has been a warm-hearted, caring, compassionate human being after everything he's gone through. Yeah. And I think Cara is finally starting to see that.
Well, and she sees how Jed has been there for him too, because she sees Jed killing his, the bad stepdad. She sees Jed there with him when his friend was killed because of him. So I think she also has a little more understanding of what type of figure Jed played in his life as well. So
yeah, that's very true. Very true.
So Stephen grabs the key and is about to head out when Hillary comes in, and she basically says, listen, I know you were trying to mess up the whole whole operation to save the breakout. And he asks her, well, why didn't you turn me in? And she kisses him.
Well, there's a lot that happened in that moment, but
yes,
I just checked real quick. You were right. I looked up the episode, and it does have a sign open for business hours, open 9 to 7 or whatever. So and there was some meat in the window, so it is still operating.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're right there. But yes, wow, did not see that coming at all because they're so opposite of each other. But then again, he's been slowly getting to her, slowly, as she says, making me soft. But not making her soft. What she really means is that he's been breaking down all her barriers that she built up over the years,
right?
Without even knowing that he was doing it. She didn't realize it, and he didn't realize it, but she did now. She started thinking about it, going, "Oh my gosh, because of you, I've been softening up. But you're getting through to me, and I really like the way you think. I really like how you care, because it turns out that she cares too and wants to help people. She's just a lot more hard ass about it." But she's on a different path to get to the same goal at the end, I think. And I have to say that I actually don't mind the two of them together. Opposites attract, but they're really not that opposite when you get down to the nitty-gritty of it. I think the two of them are better together than Stephen and Cara. I think if this show went to a second season, they would have been great together. Have them both leave Ultra, do better things, become superheroes. I think there's a lot of potential here between Hillary and Stephen, because we see that Cara has moved on. She's back with John, and Stephen has to deal with it. Here's the girl that's more meant for him. I think so, anyway. Be curious what anybody else thinks. But, and I mean, seriously, X-Force, that line that she says, I'm going to debrief you so hard. Oh my God. If a woman ever says that to you, you've got a big night ahead of you.
Yeah, I'm torn because I would like for the romance to be there, and I would like for him to help her. I just don't know if she is to the point where she can let herself, she can see herself in anything else than Ultra. And so when it comes down to it, is she going to choose Steven or is she going to choose Ultra?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I'm not sold yet. It's not that I think maybe she's got an ulterior motive, but I think it's more that she's just not in the spot yet that she can be fully trusted. And maybe we would have gotten that in season 2, is her dealing with how do I see a life beyond Ultra? How can I be something more? So I'm just interested because I have no recollection of what comes next. I'm just not sold that she's entirely trustworthy because of the stuff that's going on inside her. So we'll see.
Yeah, there's some growth she has to go through, of course. But I think Steven is helping her break through and get that path started.
Right. So he makes it to the butcher shop, and the key leads him to his dad. But here's an interesting thing. The key also unlocks the door to the room. So I thought this was interesting because, we know Steven's dad was in the midst of Ultra and things like that. I'm wondering if, that key would work on any Ultra door or just that one. I'm curious here. So
yeah, I think it probably only works here because it's DNA triggered, and it seemed to act like a tracking device because as Steven got closer, it started beep 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 beep, beep beeping faster. So he was in the right location. And again, I just want to ask, was it something that Roger designed just in case their plans, went awry? That's what I'm kind of feeling here. It just, because Steven walked by a few doorways and it didn't interfere with any of those. It only opened the one. So I think it was just specifically designed to get him into where his dad's body is. But I'll say again, I did not expect Steven to find his dad this quickly. I thought it was going to be kind of an endgame type scenario. The last thing we see, we're going to be left on a cliffhanger. No season 2, damn it. But we're not. We get it with 6 more episodes to go. So, imagine what is going through Steven's mind here in this moment. All this time thinking his dad is dead, and then meeting his dad in the other realm of whatever. I've got to find my dad's body, and boom, there it is. And it's hidden and it's secret. I don't know. I can't imagine what was going through his head in that moment. But also during that moment, the music that was playing was very emotional. This big reveal, this big answer to a long-running question that we've had. It just felt like, here's the answer. You've all been waiting for this. Steven's been waiting for this. And the music, I just loved it. It was a really cool moment.
Yeah, it was. I really appreciated that. And unfortunately, this is when Jed arrives, and it makes it seem like he's either finally admitting to himself or finally at least admitting to Steven that he kind of knows Steven's with the Tomorrow People, because he's drawing the line from Morgan to the Tomorrow People to him. So, it kind of seems that way.
you would think he knew all along, because he does leave Morgan to be protected by the Tomorrow people. He's like, you take her. I need her protected. You guys protect her. Remember that scene on the side of that mountain? Mm-hmm. He knows. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. But I'm looking at that because Jed comes in hot, and I'm thinking to myself, does he really have a right to be mad here? How much have you hidden from Steven, his dad? You've let him think that his dad is dead all this time. You lied to him about him being cremated. Here's his dad's body. Like, I don't think you have a right to be mad at Steven here. And then you see the camera swings around to Steven's face, and clearly he's even more angry. Like, he was welling up inside. I was expecting him to turn around and blast Jed with some type of attack, right?
Yeah.
This is going to be intense. Whatever comes next, it's going to be intense. Like, this was a hell of a finish to an episode. Crazy.
Yeah, it's like, we both have secrets and hid things. Well, yeah. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they pick it up and where they go from here. So
yeah, insane. So I'm looking forward to the next one to see where it goes. Again, I did not expect it to get to this point so soon. What are they going to do now? You got this many episodes. What is Steven going to do? Wake up my dad, bring him back to life. What do we have to do? Is Jed going to work with him? Is Jed going to allow him to wake his dad up? Is Jed going to explain to me, no, we need this, this, and this to make it happen? Me and your dad work together to get him out of Ultra? Like, what is going to be thrown on the table?
Yeah. It's interesting. And
yeah,
for episode 17, it's called Endgame. I'm like, okay.
That should be a finale episode name.
I know. You would think.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So,
see,
I guess we're starting the end game.
Starting the process. Yeah. This show is just so well done.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to pause and play our ad break right here, and we'll be back with our favorite scenes.
Shape out and eagle!
All right, going in chronological order, we're going to take it back to Hillary's reveal when she tells Steven her backstory. I really love this for her character. Here it is.
Sorry I missed the big sting. Heard the Red Avenger person got away.
I'd rather you say nothing than lie to me.
Easy, what are you talking about?
I found something that belongs to you.
Where was this?
The judge's house? Just as our breakout was making a clean getaway?
Yeah, okay, I was there, too. I was trying to apprehend the breakout.
Hey! She saved an entire family. A judge, his wife, his daughter, who couldn't have been older than 15. If we can't get behind a superhero, then what the hell are we doing?
Wow. You do have a heart.
You don't know a thing about me.
Try me.
Growing up, my family and I were pretty close. One night when I was 10, there was a loud banging at the door. And 3 men, ex-cons, broke in trying to steal anything they could trade for a fix. My mother did everything that they asked. But my brother was always trying to be a hero. And they caught him, calling the cops. So they shot them all. And I just laid there frozen under the bed, wishing that I had the power to save them.
I'm sorry. I had no idea.
After I broke out, I made a promise to myself. I would do everything in my power to protect people. That's why I work at Ultra. That is why I am such a hard ass. Don't you ever leave me hanging again.
Yeah, so that backstory about Hillary totally changes her character by showing us her motivations for behaving the way she does.
Yeah.
That's what I really loved about it. When you listen to what she witnessed her entire family being gunned down.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine the trauma that is on a little girl to have to see that and know that you're the only survivor of your entire family. Like, no wonder she's a hard ass. No wonder she's all out just to do everything she can to make right what was done wrong to her. Like, it blew me away to hear that story. I completely forgot about it. I understand her, and I give her so much leeway now for being the way she is. And that's what I was alluding to earlier. Like, it just completely changed her for me. I no longer think she's annoying. I no longer think, like, oh my God, like, ease up here, woman. She can't. And it makes sense.
Yeah. It definitely throws in light all of her actions so far that we've seen in the season. So, yeah.
And it provides the depth for her character, which the show has been so good at, giving us depth for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Except the founder yet. We got to get his depth. So there you go. So the bonus episode I threw in to take Harley's place, this one I called Love You to Death. And this is that intense situation with Morgan trying to tell Jed about her being pregnant and reading his mind. That whole scenario, it's intense. Be ready, because there's a lot of hard stuff in this scene.
You ever think about the future?
It's all I think about.
I mean, our future. What it would be like if it could just be you and me. No Ultra, no Shadow War, just a normal couple living a normal, happy life.
Why do you torture yourself?
They're called dreams, Jedediah. What if we could have a child?
How would we raise it? Human? Paranormal? This war is no place to raise a child, especially not one of our making, okay? Go to sleep.
Okay. I'm sorry.
What were you doing?
Nothing.
No, that didn't feel like nothing, Morgan. What were you doing?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what I think? I think you drew me here for a reason, and it wasn't for a roll in the hay, Morgan.
No, I missed you, that's all.
You were trying to read my mind right now. What were you looking for?
I'm not looking for...
Don't you lie to me! What were you looking for? Don't lie to me!
Let her go.
That's convenient, John.
I was waiting outside the door long enough to hear you almost kill the woman you love. And your unborn child.
He's lying. Tell me he's lying.
Congratulations, Jed. You're gonna be a father.
Yeah.
Intense.
Intense. And he lost it on her. Holy cow, did he get... I mean, just the suspicion that he has, the no trust for anybody. It's crazy. Just pushes him over the edge.
Yeah.
Man.
All right. Well, I'm closing us out with a scene called I Hoped You Would Be.
Look at all those lights. So many people to save. It's been cool working with you. It's fun while it lasted.
Wait, you're leaving? What about all those people?
I told you I was passing the mantle on, and I am. To you. Be great, Russell. Always wonder what happened to you.
Talia?
Thought you'd be happy to see me.
I am, but I have to tell you something.
You're the one who turned me in.
I thought you ripped me off.
Anonymous donation to the Las Vegas Youth Center.
I'm such a douche.
Yeah, you were.
Then why did you tell your disciples that I'm some hero?
Because I hope one day you would be. Today you proved me right. I only bet on sure things, Russell. You should know that about me by now.
Take me with you. I'm ready to be a hero, full-time. We can partner up like we always planned.
No. Look, you've got your partners. It's up to you to find your next mission. Bye, Russell.
Gotta get a calling card.
I really like this because it shows that she saw beyond that exterior that Russell has been throwing up in front of other people, beyond the bluff, beyond that shallowness, and seeing his depth. And we've seen that, like, when he was dealing with the death of his father. We've seen it here. It's just getting to that and that motivation and him wanting to be more. And even though in this episode he talked about to the other Tomorrow people, like, you know, there is another way beyond Ultra and us, and nobody really paid him any attention. I think he's starting to see he can be more than just the guy that we've seen before. And so hopefully that will push him and his motivation will be a little bit different.
He needed some growth because he's been the kind of hapless goofball this entire season, so he needed a bit of a push to grow. And again, I also like the music in that scene too. It has, there's some good soundtrack to this one for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Orchestral scores, yeah, good stuff. Great episode and great clips. Let's remind everybody how they can support the show.
If you'd like to support our podcast, you can do so at our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/tomorrowslegends.
Teardrops rolling down our faces, sitting here longing for the sound of your text. Feedback, it's time for feedback. Whoa, whoa, please feedback and show us some love.
Yes, and the one showing us some love is Perry White. He's been with us here all season long, and I'm going to read it here. He says, "Hey, Breakouts, Perry here. I wanted to send audio, but this has been a week from hell. Anyway, what I love most about this episode is that Mallory and Talia opened up a world of possibilities for our protagonists. It reminds me of Smallville when the Flash or Aquaman showed up in the early seasons, and it gave Clark a chance to see what he could do beyond his hometown. While hiding from the world makes sense, the Tomorrow people need human allies, and what better way to do that than help mankind? Anyway, I love most things about this episode, other than that gag-inducing Hillary Steven kiss. I don't ship them at all. Hashtag Heffin or Stillery can go straight to hell. Okay, here are some stray observations. Sorry, Carrie, I actually really like them together, but anyway. There was a lot of skin in this episode. Luke Mitchell, Peyton List, Aaron Yu, and Jeffrey Pierce all did 287 push-ups and 491 crunches before their shirtless bra scenes. By the way, one of my pet peeves in shows doing love scenes but can't show the goods, so we either get quick edits like we did with John and Cara, or cover up scenes like we got with Russell and Talia. Yeah, I guess. It is a CW show after all. There is no nudity on those ones.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I've been spoiled by Bridgerton and its go for broke nudity and sex. Oh well. Melissa Roxburgh was in an episode of Arrow and Legends, not surprising since she's Canadian. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. The Tomorrow People continues the tradition of terrible wigs with Russell's prop. Yep. I think that's all I got. I needed the extra time to make this deadline. I appreciate it, and I am out. Yeah, you're lucky the deadline got extended there, Perry.
Yeah.
Very, very lucky. All right, if you want to join the show like Perry White did, we got a few more episodes to go, and you still have plenty of time. This is how you do it.
If you would like to be a part of the show, you can send in your feedback to tomorrowslegendspodcast@gmail.com. You can also reach us on Twitter at Tomorrow's Legends. We'd love you to join our Facebook page at facebook.com/groups/Tomorrow's Legends and become part of the community.
You know, there's one thing we forgot to put in the news at the top of the show, is the fact that this is episode 299 of Tomorrow's Legends. 299! Yes. That means we hit 300 next week.
Yes, that's right.
Oh my gosh. Who would have thought 300 episodes when we just started out with lowly little Legends of Tomorrow way all those years ago?
I mean, it's interesting to think about how, especially you and Jess have just built that audience and just had fun doing this and just, you know, getting people involved. It's just fun, you know, because I just, it's a fun thing to look at and to think, yeah, 300 episodes. And multiple TV series and all that good stuff. It's awesome. Awesome to think about.
It is awesome. We'll talk more about it on the actual 300th episode, but I think because we don't have a massive audience for the Tomorrow People, we'll have to post something on the Twitter accounts, Threads accounts, Instagram, and Facebook page to highlight that it is our 300th coming up and it's something worth celebrating. And we'll definitely do something for it. I got a couple ideas that we will do. To celebrate it, but yeah, so we'll definitely talk about it in depth at the top of the next show because this is a big one to celebrate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking. I think if my thing is right, I started with 141.
Oh, really? So you've been here for half of them then?
Yeah, I didn't think it was that. Yeah. But like, yeah, Superman and Lois episode 1.
Wow.
So
there you go. There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, like as a full-time regular host. Yeah. Because you had a few guest spots, but
yeah.
Cool. Well, there you go. So you've crossed the halfway threshold yourself. So. Very cool. Very fun. Well, we'll definitely we'll have to think of something special. We need to do like a little opening history of history breakdown of our show and what it means to us. Because jeez, cool. And we'll get Jess involved. She'll definitely be here for that.
Oh yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, have a good start to your week. Sorry that this is a couple of days late, but we'll be back in your ears on Friday, I believe, hopefully, with episode 17 called Endgame, apparently.
Yep.
All right. Everybody, take care till then. This is The Flash signing off.
This is X-Force 11. So say we all.
Tomorrow's Legends is not affiliated with CBS, Warner Brothers, HBO, or the CW. We're a fan-made podcast for entertainment purposes only and are part of the Cybercast Network. Be sure to check out our partner shows, The Mandalore and Dive into DC, covering your favorite Star Wars and DC Comics properties. Thanks for listening.